about Google opportunities, and I've been using it for 5 years during my classes. Thank you so much, Raquel, for being
here.
And our next presentation will be on how
Good morning.
to implement task-based learning into young learner classroom. Mostly dealing with what is the young learner classroom like, and how to implement communicative tasks into the young learner classroom. Today we're going to talk about basic concepts like TBLT, young learner, EFO, real life tasks, and ZPT. TBLT stands for task-based language teaching, which is part of communicative language teaching. Young learners or language learners aged 6 to 12 years old. And EFO, as everyone knows, is English as a foreign language. Real life tasks that we implement in the classroom of young learner is the authentic tasks that happen in life, and students can use language to implement the task. ZPD stands for Zone of Proximal Development. So what we're going to do today with you, today we're going to talk about theoretical approach that trigger task-based learning. Next week we'll talk about teachers' role and students' role. And thirdly, also we talk about examples of creating tasks. The interest in foreign language teaching has increased in Uzbekistan, and the need of foreign language learning lowers the age of speaking English. Ministry of Public Education has lowered the compulsory English lessons to the first grade in this primary school starting from 2013. And as we see, this domain, young learner language teaching in Uzbekistan, is rather young, and it needs further research in order to make language classes, foreign language learning classes, more communicative, dynamic, and active. So one of the efficient methodology of raise intrinsic motivation of young learners, we think that is TBLT. We'll be examining the notion of task-based language pedagogy in relation to young learners, specifically beginners aged between 5 to 10 years old. TBLT mostly associated with real-life tasks that promote collaborative environment. It is a work plan that requires learners to process language pragmatically with primary attention to meaning. Negotiation of meaning in central point of 21st century contemporary linguistic research, as well as language pedagogy. An interaction to express meaning. TBLT is developed based on the following theories. Everyone listening here, they know what is input hypothesis by Krushen, states of child development, social constructivism model by Vygotsky, social cognitivism by Bandura. So input hypothesis, in short, is input that learners receive should be comprehensible and slightly beyond their own level of competence. In space of child development, it's for our target is concrete operations, age 7-11. Children have enough experience to begin to conceptualize and some abstract problem solving, though they still want to do things, or they learn best by doing. Next is social constructivism model by Vygotsky. Different users of language help each other to construct meaning. The more capable provide the novice with appropriate input by scaffolding to the zone of proximal development. Zone of proximal development is what child might do a little but can't do alone. Social cognitivism by Bandura, the learner's internalization process, learning through observation. Let's watch this video in order to understand this theoretical background and a little bit talk over it. So here we can see a child is learning not only from a teacher, but from children, from his friends, from their peers, and they might learn that not only from a teacher, but their friends too. So task-based approach developed by Tuck in 1982 is learning is effective when students' minds are focused on tasks rather than on the language they are using. So in this task of building a tower, children were very much excited seeing the object, and they are going to build something rather than to learn the language. But the teacher's role here to motivate learners to use the language while in the process, while building the tower, and by scaffolding some language instruction, language function. So a task-based approach involves meaningful communication and interaction. So here happens a negotiation. There is an authentic language used. Let's see how in Kids English 3, Unit 6, page 30, Activity 3. Here, according to this unit, the pupils or students should learn comparative degree and the adjective degree. And here, the task is organized as in the framework, like pre-task, task, and language focus. In the pre-task, teacher introduces the topic and task instruction, and introduces what the students are going to do with the object and what is their aim. And in the task process, people build and plan and report. And in language focus, teachers can go to the language functions and help learners to learn the targeted aim. Here, you can see a pre-task, introduction to topic and task, and then the task cycle. There's a task, planning and report, and language focus, analysis and practice. One more video introduces how teacher introduces the topic to young learners. Let us watch. Now let's watch what happens in the task cycle process. In the task cycle process is very important because the task won't happen without the help of a teacher. Teacher is the main facilitator, and task is impossible when task might be possible, the students can create things, but the teacher's aim is to just teach the language, and here the role of the teacher is immense. In the last section of the task, pupils report what did they do. Do you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. How about the video, Raquel? Was there a sound? No sound? But,
we can hear you, but not the videos.
but students here representing their projects. Okay, there are many task types that we can utilize during young learning process of foreign language teaching. This can be problem solving, suggesting, instructing, creating projects, ordering and sorting, information gap, e-commerce, plan a trip, plan a family or class party. Different kinds of activities or tasks can be created by a teacher. And teachers' role here to organize and to just create a situation the students will be able naturally to talk. So as you see here, teachers' role is select and prepare tasks. Teachers prepare learners for tasks, introduce the topic, provide task instructions, and they can partially display the task process. Teachers play a crucial role in successful engagement in language learning through scaffolding the language process. Task only cannot guarantee learning effect. So what is the role of a student? Student is the collaborator, complete tasks in pairs and in small groups. The student is observer. Learner observes how language is used. The student should be a creator during task-based instruction. So a student is creator, innovator, and the learner needs to create and interpret various messages in each task. Here is one more example of lesson plan with tasks, and I call this hygiene, where my materials could be this hygiene objects like soap, shampoo, and how to use them, towel, and verbs regarding hygiene, and doctors as a functional language. I would just use doctor's suggestions, how to suggest someone to do something. Teacher creates a situation to make the task real life. And prepares worksheets on which there is doctor's suggestions, and then they start to suggest their patient. The aim of this lesson is to be able to suggest appropriate hygiene objects, rules, information in real simulated situations. In the pre-task, teacher talks about washing, wiping, cleaning, and the importance of being clean. Introduces hygiene objects for everyday use. Teacher hands out worksheets to write suggestions, and teachers can offer to watch a cartoon. In my case, it is Dr. Ibelis, and in the situation, teacher can explain the situation in this way. Like you're doing a project on Dr. Ibelis suggests marmalade, and they divide into smaller groups of 3 students. Divide roles. Doctors should suggest to marmalade how to deal with the problems he has. The task is giving appropriate suggestion is primary aim of this task. So after the task, students report is listened, or they can report in written form. The language focus, teacher will help to use grammar forms, appropriate functions in providing suggestions. Task-based language learning is kind of all the rage these days as part of the overall communication approach. This focuses on having students being competent communicators, as opposed to some of the older models like grammar translation and or PPT presentation, practice, and production. Why I love task in Young Learner Classroom with my students? Because it gives students a reason to do something, as opposed to just using language in meaningless kind of situations like fill in the gap, read and answer. But while doing the task, students can also read, listen, watch, but students are interested in implementing the task, not in learning the language, but the task itself. And this creates an intrinsic motivation. This was about task-based learning. Thank you very much. This was my presentation of how to implement tasks into the Young Learner Classroom. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm ready to answer the questions. Any questions?
Good morning.
Real speaking.
I have a question for you. I'm an English teacher, Hüseyin Vadilorum. During my lesson, I use two methods. I teach learners in English via native language and via foreign language. What do you think? Which one of these more effective? What does statistics say about it?
Can you please repeat the question about foreign and native language? Teachers teaching English as native speakers teaching English. Do you mean that?
What?
Can you repeat your question, please?
During my lessons.
Yeah, listening to you.
During my lessons, I use two methods. I teach learners in English via native language and via foreign language.
Yeah, understood you. Clear.
What do you think?
Yeah, understood. Clear. So
which one is more effective?
Yeah.
Teaching foreign language via native language or foreign language?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your question. You mean language one and foreign language. So while teaching English language, of course, we should mostly keep target language, which is English, during our lessons. But the need of a learner is apparent to every teacher, and teacher knows when to use the language, first language, or Uzbek, for example, during classes. I've heard many times that it is very difficult to teach young learners using only English or using target language. But I think, in my own experience, I love to keep only target language, and it is a percentage during my lessons. Like it can be 80% English and 20% just Uzbek during my lessons. If you always keep speaking English during your lessons, first, second, and third classes might be very difficult for learners and to you. But the other lessons, like fifth, sixth, and seventh, pupils, I think, get accustomed to your speech. And even in the street, out of the class time, they will be just facing you, addressing you in target language, thinking that you only speak English and you don't speak other languages. That's why I love to keep the target language during my lessons, and I urge every teacher to use target language most often. And using target language is more efficient, I think. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Okay?
Thank you.